And for a creative in the music industry and just creative in general, let's say you're a content creator, entrepreneur, if they want to monetize and start their own entity, you as a financial consultant and all the experience you have, what entity do you think would be best for a creative professional looking to create their first entity?
You should have an entity, either like an LLC or even consider forming a corporation or something like that. When you have liability exposure, when you have assets to protect, but when you're a content creator and musician, you're putting out music, you're getting royalties, you're doing all these things. You are a business already. You consider it a sole proprietorship.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Miltrick Media. I'm sitting down with Saadi Sabah, the owner and operator and founder of ECLAT, ECLAT Financial Consultancy. It's a boutique financial and tax firm, financial services, much more in between. Saadi, how's it going? Thank you so much for sitting down with me.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. I'm really looking forward to this.
Me as well. I'm really excited. We originally met over a decade ago. We met in high school. I remember I met you the first week of high school back in Wagner. Shout out the Falcons, you know what I mean? But we came a long way since there. And yeah, I've been following your journey with your company, putting out great content. So I want to start all the way from the beginning. What inspired you to start ECLAT? Let's go back to the beginning of the company.
I got into this by accident. I'm 20 years old. I'm in college. I'm looking for any and every way to make some money. So I started, working for jobs. I got a job at something called a Liberty Tax franchise.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked at Liberty Tax, popular to, what I found out after a couple of seasons working there was you don't have to be a CPA to prepare and start tax returns. So what started off as just a little side hustle, uh, preparing personal tax returns for a couple of people, turned up into being a seven-figure business now, 8 years later. I am a CPA, and I took it all the way in terms of from A to Z. Uh, well, from I started as a simple side practice with 10 clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into it by accident, really. It was just a side hustle. I just wanted to make some side income. Every year as progressed, throughout my education and career, it started growing slowly and slowly. I got a job fresh out of college, graduated during COVID, 2020. So I was working a full-time 8 to 5, but on the side, I was always working, building up my tax firm, with the dream in mind to one day be able to support myself, and not work at 8 to 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
And really, it wasn't 8 to 5; it was more of like a 7 to 7. Especially with, you know, my type of career, they expect a lot out of you. You don't get so much. So it was always a dream of mine to be an entrepreneur, be self-sufficient, just be able to provide for myself. And then thank God, 4 years into my career, uh, I built the firm large enough where I was able to take a leap of faith, and I haven't looked back since.
That's an amazing story. I'm in the same boat with you. Like ever since even that age, I wanted to be an entrepreneur, be my own boss, whatever I could to make that work, even tying the creativity with the business. So you officially started while you were still working your other career and job. You officially started at 20. And then once you hit around 24, that's when things really started to accelerate and you were able to take that leap of faith, right?
Yeah, once I was in my career, I was getting a lot of exposure and experience. I slowly started building up my confidence, my education, and really understanding the ins and out of my business. And I learned how to monetize my services. I needed to go through that to learn and be able to do what I do now. Because
Yeah.
I worked for a small GC. They were a company doing 100 million a year, which sounds big, but in the business space with 30 employees in construction, it's not a large company,
Mm-hmm.
but it gave me so much exposure because I started at the company. They were doing 30 million a year. I saw how they scaled and built out their business, all the accounting and finance functions. I had exposure to tax, payroll, bookkeeping. So just really diving deep into numbers, understanding how a business operates financially and what it takes to be a profitable business, right? And then how you could be profitable and still go bankrupt, right, with cash flow issues and things like that. So I had so much exposure where after 3 years, I felt confident enough to be able to support other business owners. And now I just expand that expertise to businesses, just starting out to, well adept and prime business right now doing 8 to 9 figures a year, actually.
Yeah.
So it's all across the spectrum now.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you first started your own business, your own entity, what was the biggest challenges you faced early on?
Imposter syndrome. I'm on LinkedIn. I deal with a lot of professionals. I see a lot of other people in the space, and you always, when you're starting out, you always have that feeling where it's, maybe you're not good enough. But nothing makes you feel more confident than getting the reps in battling in the arena, getting that experience. And throughout time, I just learned to build on it. And to some degree, almost everyone is faking it to an extent, right? So you should never feel like you have imposter syndrome. The person that's doing more than you or ahead of you actually just has more confidence or just, winged it and made it to where they are. It's nothing, there's
Yeah.
no secret to it. Just taking it day by day, really.
Yeah, you learn like as I got older, like when you're younger, I never would have thought this, but now that I got older, especially working in Manhattan and just in general, now that we're adults, you realize a lot of people are just winging it. And there's more people than I thought don't exactly know what they're doing either. They're just winging it. It's crazy. That was such a crazy realization, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's really cool. Talking about even the challenges you faced early on. So with your business, your boutique, tax firm, financial consultancy, you have so many great 5-star reviews. You have so many returning customers. So how did you get those great reviews and how do you retain customers as a business?
So that's a really good question. I really started off with the belief since I started this, if you just do a good job, everything else does follow. I am customer and client obsessed. If someone's upset or if there's a bad outcome, I cannot sleep. I will lose sleep and I will not stop until the outcome is favorable, or at least I communicate that in a way where the client understands what happened. This is a people business, at least from what I am. And in the beginning of business, uh, you do everything, right? When you start a business, like you're the bookkeeper, you're the sales rep, you are the fulfillment, you're the marketer. And so you juggle many, many roles. And as you grow, it's slowly just building, especially as things compound, slowly delegating and handing off tasks. And you just, me, my biggest thing now is just client communication. And just I'm there at the beginning of the engagements now and the end just to ensure a good outcome. Because
Mhm.
that's the highest ROI activity for what I can do now. But just to answer your question, being so client obsessed, that's really how I built my whole business. And it's a boutique firm for a reason. We don't want to give off like the H&R Block vibe, Liberty Tax vibe. My goal is to see you win because when you win, I win.
Yeah.
That's my whole philosophy with building my relationships, right? It's a long-term relationship. Especially, some clients I served when I started, we went to high school together.
Mhm.
Some clients I met, online and they're across the country and I never even met them in person. But the end result, what I want for them is all the same. Uh, to be financially free and achieve all their goals for what they want to accomplish, at least in the financial realm. And I'll help bridge that gap, right? So you tell me I want to retire at 35. Okay, this is what we need, and we work backwards.
Yeah. And for a creative, in the music industry and just creative in general, let's say you're a content creator, entrepreneur, if they want to monetize and start their own entity, they're getting to that level, you as a financial consultant and all the experience you have, what entity do you think would be best for a creative professional looking to create their first entity?
So by default, per the IRC, and just starting a business, if you are in business and you have a for-profit motive, you're in business. You're considered a sole proprietorship.
Mm-hmm.
There's no formal filing, no entity needed. You are a business in terms of the IRS. Now, when you ask me what type one should have an entity, you should have an entity either like an LLC or even consider forming a corporation or something like that when you have liability exposure, when you have assets to protect. But when you're a content creator and musician, you're putting out music, you're getting royalties, you're doing all these things. You are a business already. You consider it a sole proprietorship, similar to how a barber can just operate, be its own business, or a hairstylist.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, as a musician, by default, if you're operating and pursuing something for a profit, you're considered a business automatically. Now, when you should have an entity, when you want to build that professionalism, right? Especially if you're working with other businesses trying to book venues, you want to establish that prestige, that ring that the entity
Yeah.
has. That's when you want to do it, because all an LLC does or a corporation does is provide asset protection. It protects your personal assets. God forbid, you book a show, you have a venue, and you don't show up. People book 300 tickets. This venue has to show performance, and you don't show up. That venue can sue you. They can go after you, right? If you have an entity, your personal assets are protected. But let's just say you have $100,000 tucked away in your bank account, and you don't perform. You can be sued, and creditors can take your personal assets. So people form an LLC really just to protect their assets. Think about, if you're employed, you have a 401k, uh, your paychecks, they can go after everything. So having an LLC separates you, the person, from the business, and the business being its own standalone entity, right? So again, really, all it does is provide asset protection. So whenever you think this career you're building gives that exposure, maybe it's time to consider forming an LLC. Does it make sense to even have a corporation? That's a little more specific. That's more popular for people that are raising capital, getting some
Yeah,
sort of financing. But for the solo entrepreneur or musician, the LLC is your best friend from protecting your assets, especially as you build your wealth as time progresses. You build that catalog, those assets, that IP, the intellectual property you own, your music, things like that. If you want to protect that, it needs to be safeguarded, either through the forms of having an entity, and if you want to enforce the IP protections, having trademarks, things like that.
definitely. Yeah. So if you're a musician and you're generating a few $1,000s a year in royalties, let's say between a level of 5,000 and 10,000, then you'd recommend an LLC or a sole proprietorship.
Yeah. Once you start building traction, and again, you have assets to protect, you form the LLC. By default, whether you're doing 1,000 or 5,000, you're already a sole proprietorship.
Mm-hmm.
You're earning self-employment income. Uh, Now, what you want to do as you start earning income, as you start documenting all your expenses, right? You have travel costs, you have costs for software subscriptions, fees for Spotify, Pandora, wherever you're listing your music on, they take a percentage, right? All these costs trickle
Yeah.
down to you, and you have to document that. So you're not paying tax uh, on profits you didn't receive. Uh, so yeah,
Yeah.
I
And
think
especially with copyright too, right? Anything with IP, right?
correct.
Yeah. No, it's great facts to know. And yeah, especially it is sometimes hard to juggle all that and know. So I think it's just great knowledge when people are navigating the industry, especially when they realize, oh, like what I put out, my IP, like any song is intellectual property, it's generating royalties. It's supposed to be copyrighted. Once they realize it's generating money, a lot of artists don't know the exact next step. So that's why I think that information, that is great to know that could help so many people. You know what I mean? Because it's like it has to be documented, and all these things can be listed, your expenses, things can be written off, a lot that you may not even know. Learning that, it's like so eye opening, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and having that, right? That's how you enforce the monetization, right? If someone's playing music without your permission, how can you enforce that if you have no protection, nothing showing your proof that you own this? So really just tightening up ship as you start putting out more music. You're doing more, you're creating more content. This is all IP, intellectual property that can be reproduced. And if you don't have your stuff protected and safeguarded, you can't enforce those protections. Um, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And you put out a lot of great content on your social profiles on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. I know you started doing YouTube videos again. A lot of your posts, a lot of great posts on Facebook and Instagram. So you make content where you talk about audits and auditing. So for a record label, for instance, in a lot of recording contracts, there's reporting, there's also audits based on certain periods. How can a record label deal with audits and tax planning?
Well, audits, for a record label, why would they audit an artist? Is I'm sure they get a percentage of your royalties, right? So an audit is like a verification of your income. So they're saying if they get 30% of whatever you generate, and you told me you made 10,000, but you really made 100,000, that's why they have an audit to verify whatever you're telling them. For tax planning and things like that, you start with the basics. A lot of people don't understand again, when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a musician, you are a business. And you want to start with the basics, right? With making your estimated taxes quarterly. Because when you work through an employer, you get a W-2, you'll notice your taxes withheld out of your paycheck. Immediately, out of sight, out of mind, you don't even get to check it. But when you're self-employed, you are the employer and the employee. So it's like, okay, it's assessing how much you made for the period after expenses are considered and making those prepayments every quarter. Because if you wait till the end of the year, you might receive all your income receipts from 1099 saying, oh, I made $80,000. Why do I have a 30K tax bill right now? What's going on? You didn't plan. You didn't prepay quarterly. Now you're paying penalties. You didn't record any of your expenses, no travel expenses, no software subscriptions, your home office deduction. All these things that you're entitled to mitigate your tax bill, uh, you're waiting till the end of the year. You're being reactive, not proactive.
Yeah.
So just remember, at the end of the day, when you're a musician, you are a business. It's important to conduct yourself like a business. Businesses have sets of records. Are operating under an entity. Businesses are establishing some sort of professionalism, right? Especially as you approach other labels, or maybe you're in a position where you are the label and you're managing other artists and things of that nature. You want to have your records clean. From a tax planning perspective, from a business perspective, you never know. Maybe you get acquired, you want to sell your business, your rights, things of that nature. What is the first thing they're going to ask for? Your numbers, right? So
Yeah.
if you have it documented, I'm sure there are some music subscriptions and apps and finance apps that track your royalties, your expenses, where you can put a dollar figure on the value of your IP. But having these records in order help you get the most favorable outcome, especially when the time comes where you want to go for the basics to get a loan, a mortgage, things like that.
Yeah.
If you're not documenting everything, reporting it, how are you going to get approved? How can you actually take that next step? How can you take that risk? You want to open up a business, buy a building for your record label, invest in a studio. All comes down to the basis of good numbers, good planning, and conducting yourself like a real business.
No, for sure, definitely. And you're a business owner, especially in your industry. What are tips that you have for staying organized as a business owner?
Right now we're living in like one of the most tech, tech, technical ages of our time. There's a lot of
Hmm.
things you can do
Yeah.
between getting basic softwares, calculate. I say the starting point is consider once the time to have an entity. Go with the basics. Open up a separate bank account for either the business as a sole proprietor or under your LLC. Start funneling everything separately through those accounts. Uh, that's one of the best ways to stay organized. Do not commingle, right? It's hard to track when you're putting your recording sessions, the cost for that on your personal credit card. End of the year, you're scrambling, saying, "Oh, I spent this money here, I spent that money there." When you know you're establishing or pursuing this career or this business, lay the foundation right, right? So you start with separate accounts. You funnel all revenues received from your business to the business account, and then when you want to
Hmm.
pay yourself, you just take it, transfer it to distribution. You operate and conduct yourself as a separate from the business. So go with the basics. I'd say the best thing to do to stay organized is when you are pursuing this, uh, start off with a separate bank account. Stop commingling your transactions. You don't see, the owner of any big, large enterprise company booking their personal mortgage payments through the
Hmm.
company. You should operate that in that manner too. From a tracking perspective as well, because now if everything's conducted separately, you're tracking all your deductions, all your expenses are in one spot. You're not going to pay so much in accounting fees when they're trying to clean up your books and things like that. So
Yeah.
the most the most immediate action item you can take is just conduct yourself like a business. Try to separate all financial transactions from you as an individual and for this business activity. Start like that.
Yeah, definitely. And there was a couple of recent pieces of content you put out, great pieces of content that stuck with me. So I want to dive into that. The four phases of business. The four phases of business. You put out this great post recently about that. So I wanted to dive into that. So what are the four phases of business?
So ideally, as I just touched on a little earlier, you just start off. You take any and everything. You're just looking to survive, and you're doing every role. Uh, Meaning you are again, you're the marketer, you're the fulfillment. You're sitting there trying to read a contract and respond back to whoever you're signing with. You're doing everything, and as you transition and you realize as things start getting through, you'll catch yourself doing so many roles, but what's actually moving the needle, what's actually
Hmm.
advancing your career. You're not a bookkeeper, for example. So when it comes to a point where if you're doing a couple of thousand a month, maybe it's time for you not to sit there and categorize all your transactions and try to reconcile. Maybe look at hiring a bookkeeper. As you scale up and you're signing bigger and bigger contracts,
Hmm.
maybe get a third. Maybe instead of running it through ChatGPT or Claude now, you consider looking at an attorney just to verify this contract, really protect yourself, especially as you start picking up traction. These labels and these other places, they prey on the uneducated,
Hmm.
right?
For
So they
sure.
know when someone has something and they're not going to do their due diligence. Uh, and then they get screwed. You got people, I see it all the time. I hear about it all the time. People sign a contract not knowing what they read, they blow up and now they're stuck in this thing where they can't make money, they can't monetize, they can't uh, do what they need to do only because they didn't have that team, they didn't do that level of due diligence that's required that any prudent business would do. And again, it's conducting yourself like a real business, not just uh, handshake deals. Like for example, I mean, even like the disclaimer, how professional that is when I onboarded for this podcast,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and things like that. Like that needs to be established. That's conducting yourself in a professional business manner, right?
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Every little interaction, endeavor, yeah, you conduct it like that, it can only lead to a more positive outcome, for sure.
Yes.
And in your business as a financial consultant, what are 5 money habits that can change your life in your 20s, can help a lot of young people? Better financial habits. What advice would you have for young people in their 20s and 30s?
You know, really focus and hone in on systems. And what I mean by systems, uh, if you can't save money now with your current income, more money doesn't solve your problem. So, when I say systems, I mean uh, have a schedule and allocate your income accordingly, right? So $100 comes in from your paycheck a week. Have a system where you follow these set of rules no matter what. As time goes on, you're constantly building your net worth. You're constantly growing, and these systems and these habits, excuse me, I'm sorry,
No worries.
compound over time, right? So if
Mm-hmm.
you're making $100 a week and you're putting 50% for operation costs, so what I mean by that is your rent, utilities, living, 30% is going to savings, 20% is going to investing. If you follow these rules with the passage of time, your net worth is only going to compound and you're only going to grow, right? Investing is like the ninth wonder of the world, they say. The earlier you
Yeah.
start, the better you are in the long run. And when you have a strong financial backing, now you're in the position to make good choices. You don't have to make choices out of fear or I read something the other day. I saw it online. It was like Tony Hawk, right? There was a time where in his career they were making the game Pro Hawk Skater. It was picking up traction, and Activision wanted to buy the future rights to his game, the royalties. And he said, had they come to him 6 months before, he might have taken that because he was signing a mortgage. He was pregnant with his wife
Yeah.
was pregnant. But he said 6 months later, he was in a good spot financially. He was able to say, no, I'll take it. I'll pass up on that and end up being the best financial decision of his life. So
Yeah.
when you follow these set of rules and you protect yourself, you make positions in this in decisions. I'm sorry, in a not a place of fear, but in a place of confidence, right? So maybe you're not going to sign a bad deal when you know you have 2 years of reserves in the bank. I'm good. I'm protected. My family's covered. I'm good to go, right? So the best thing you can do is create a set of rules that you follow no matter what. Because if you can't save money with what you're making now, more money doesn't solve your problem. I see this all the time. Lifestyle creep. You make more money, you get a promotion, you get a raise, start making, business is booming, and you start spending more. But life is like this. So if you're not following these set of rules and
Yeah.
allocations, you will not be protected. I've seen people, young kids, they blow up for 1 year, they make a lot of money doing e-commerce drop, whatever they do, and then next year, season as this goes out, something happens to them, they can't sell their product, and now they make no money, nothing to show for it. Um,
Yeah.
but if you follow these rules, you will always be protected, and you'll wake up feeling uh, happy to work, happy to do whatever you're doing because no matter what, my net worth is growing. I have something to show for it, right? Nothing's more sad than putting 10 years, 20 years earning income and doing something, and then people tell me you have nothing to your name. Like it just doesn't make sense. Uh, and
Definitely.
you can't be shy to money because it runs uh it runs everything, right? So it's how you want to live your life. It's how you want to help people. It's how you want to give yourself and your family a good future. So it's
Definitely.
not being shy about that conversation.
That's incredibly important. Yeah. As an entrepreneur, what are you most excited for in the near future?
Getting to grow and scale my business and getting 1% better by the day. I recently I hired a mentor. He's another CPA firm owner. He really just showed me the heights of where I can take this, and it just reminded me how much farther I can go. But living the dream. If I get to wake up every day and work for myself and grow my business, take care of my family, I really can't ask for more.
Yeah, that's
But
amazing.
I'm
And
excited. I'm excited to wake up every day. Long story short.
no, that's the best. If you're doing what you love, like nothing beats that. It's like it's rewarding, it's exhilarating, and that's great that you said you hired a mentor too, because then you never know what that's like an investment too in itself, like what you may get back, how you can implement that. That's awesome.
Yes. So yeah, he was just really diving deep into my operation, basically crafted the whole thing and just told me what I need to fix, turn everything into a workflow, build out this system, that system. So it's nice to see that there's someone else that's been in my shoes. He's where I want to go, and he's really laying out the blueprint for me to get to
Yeah,
that place.
yeah. That's awesome. Last but not least, what is next for ECLAT? And Saadi, where can we find you and your business online across social media?
So, I'm on Instagram. My handle is ECLATFC. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn. Uh, and in terms of what's next steps,
Yes. What's next? What's next for you and the company and ECLAT's activity in future?
so we have a lot of good things coming up. I do plan on spinning off my company. I'm launching a registered investment advisory practice where we're going to be doing financial planning, and then I'm spinning off the accounting services to a separate entity. And
That's
we're just
exciting.
yes. So we're just trying to grow, really pick up the operations, get organized. Again, because I'm still learning as I go, right? I'm year 9 in business, and I still feel like a student every single day.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
so much I'm learning, so much I'm cleaning up, but just taking it day by day, 1% better. That's all I could ask for.
No, that's amazing, bro. That's awesome. Especially like you said, even like, yeah, that mindset, staying hungry. It's so important. You stay on your toes and your heels, and you keep moving. And like, innovation comes to you. You adapt. You learn so much. That's
Yes.
awesome. So last but not least, yeah, shout out to the audience one more time. So we can find you on Instagram, Facebook at ECLAT. Is it at ECLAT NYC or ECLAT F NYC?
Just ECLAT FC now.
ECLAT FC now. Awesome, awesome.
Yes. I'm on YouTube, TikTok. I go on live, once a week. I drop occasional tax tips. So feel free to find me on all socials, and you can always book a call on my website. I never charge for consultations. It's always free. So thank you for
Yeah, no,
having me.
definitely, guys. Make sure you check him out on all the socials on Instagram. Check out the YouTube. He's putting more stuff up on YouTube and Facebook. And yeah, like the consultation. Check out the website. There's a lot more resources there and links. And Saadi, thank you so much for sitting down with me, bro. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, brother. I really appreciate it. If you ever need anything, I'm looking forward to doing this again. Uh,
Definitely.
have a good night. Thank you.
You too. Thank you so much. Guys, make sure you check him out. And Saadi, thank you so much again. ECLAT and Saadi Sabah, a financial consultant and boutique tax company. Make sure you check them out on all services. Saadi, thank you once again. And thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Miltrick Media. And we will see you soon.